Shalom. Um, I was watching a video about by some other ox teaching. I like to do that. See what they're saying. So I like to see Israel go forth and see if I can learn something new. Or, of course, I have my favorites that I like to watch. But if I see somebody else that's going forth that's interesting, I'll watch them for a while. See what they're talking about. And as I was watching this one I teaching, he spoke about the subject of multiple wives. So when he got on that subject, that clicked in my head. And I said, okay, watch it for a while. Then I had another thought, say, search some scriptures and see what you come up with. So I searched the scriptures. And like usually when this happens, when the thought comes to me, it does not only stick on that subject, but it widens to a variety of subjects and comes together. And the subject of marriage in the kingdom. The thought was, okay, marriage, multiple wives, but then it came the physical to the spiritual. So in this message, the way I believe it came out, it allows the men, the women, the natural relationship, the overall view of the woman being the church from a spiritual point of view. Then it goes on from the type of woman. I'm not trying to give it away from the beginning. The type of woman that we should be looking for, a virtuous woman. Then it went from a virtuous woman to a woman that's not so virtuous. How all that ties in to your soul salvation. From not only from your point of view, from her point of view, back to your point of view, and the overall whole, and then as a church, a virtuous church. Enmity, the carnal mind is not subject to the laws of the Most High Yah, nor can be. So, what is your agenda for wanting multiple wives? Is it because you see your ox with multiple wives? It's kind of like I can see my ox eating a big plate of food, and he handles it. He takes it down. But because I'm watching him, is that the lust of the eye that I want with the plate he got? Can I handle his plate? Or when I get that plate with the same amount of food on it, was that just the lust of the eye, the lust of the flesh, or the pride of life? Because I want to be like him or better than him, to prove I can do the same thing or better. What is your motive? What's in your heart that makes you want to have multiple wives? At the end of this video, based on the scriptures, if I'm praying that the Most High will allow me to transfer it to you how it was given to me. At the end of this, you might not want no wives. You might want to be like Paul. Because with many wives come much responsibility. Can you handle it? And some might say, well, I don't see you have a wife. Who are you to tell me about marriage? Well, that's what they say. But the Hamashiach said, I come not for the perfect, but for the sick. So in the kingdom of Israel, we have many people that have done many things and made many mistakes and lived many types of lies, and we need it all that we may learn and go forward. So everybody has something to bring forth. So we get going. start off with a scripture in Matthew. Like you said, the way I usually do it is I gather a lot of scriptures, and I will interject here and there, but for the most part, I let the scriptures paint the picture. So Matthew 22, 29 through 32. Yahusha answered and said unto them, You do err, not knowing the scriptures, nor the power of Yah. For in the resurrection they neither marry, nor are given in marriage, but are as the angels of Yah in heaven. So we hear a lot of people talking about, in the kingdom, we're going to have all these wives, and we're going to do all these things. Now, there is a lower level in the kingdom that will be marrying and giving in the marriage. And so it depends on what you're after and what you're sowing into. So are you sowing into the flesh or are you sowing into the spirit? Because on this level that the Hamashiach is talking about, there ain't going to be no marriage and giving in the marriage on this level. For in the resurrection, they neither marry nor are given in the marriage, but are as the angels of Yah in heaven. But as touching the resurrection of the dead, have you not read that which was spoken unto you by Yah, saying, I am the Yah of Abraham, and the Yah of Isaac, and the Yah of Jacob? Yah is not the Yah of the dead, but of the living. Yah is the Yah of the living. He loves live things. He don't associate with dead things, with corruptible things. And when the multitude heard this, they were astonished at his doctrine. Mark 12, 20 through 25. Now there were 7 brethren, and the first took a wife, and dying left no seed. And the second took her and died, and neither left he any seed. And the third likewise, and the 7th had her, and left no seed. See, right here is telling you that the brother, if he was to pass on, the next brother up in his line would be responsible to take her as a wife, and in this particular case, all the way up to the 7th, and neither of them left any seed. And the 7 had her and left no seed. Last of all, the woman died also. In the resurrection, therefore, when they shall rise, whose wife shall she be of them? For the 7 had her to wife. And Yahusha answering said unto them, Do you not therefore err, because you know not the scriptures, neither the power of Yah? For when they shall rise from the dead, they neither marry, nor are given in marriage, but are as the angels which are in heaven. This is a higher calling. So he said, Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and obtaineth favor of Yah. So the wife that you found, is she a good thing? Is she everything that you would look for in a virtuous woman? Or is she bringing you hell on earth? Or is she setting you up all the time? Or is she calling the authorities on you? Is she a good thing? Is she bringing you trouble? Did you find the wife that Yah gave you who's a good thing? Proverbs 31:10 and 31. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband does safely trust in her. Can you safely trust in the woman that you got? And if you're one of those who believe in multiple wives, can you trust them? So that he shall have no need of spoil. Do you come home to paradise every day? She will do him good and not evil at all of her day of her life. Verse 12. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. Can you attest to that? That's a virtuous woman. That's the one. That's the good thing that Yah has provided for you. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. Verse 13. She seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. Verse 14. She is like the merchant ship. She bringeth her food from afar. Verse 15. She riseth all while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, as a portion to her maidens. 16. She considereth a field and buyeth it with the fruit of her hands. She planted a vineyard. So she sold out to her household. She's not worrying about, even though she would deserve it, and that would be a good thing for a man to look out for in that way. But she's not worried about the latest fashion. She's looking out for her household. She's making sure that she's done the best for her household, that they can have land and property and all these type of things. She does it with her own whatever they call it money today. But she uses that Federal Reserve notes and different that she has to make sure her household is taken care of. (16) Once again, she considered a field. So she go out and look for a nice place for her and her family to live and buyeth it with the fruit of her hands. She's not looking for her husband to kick in and buy the place for her. She's looking to find a place for her and her family, including the husband. The fruit of her hands, she planted a vineyard. That's a verse 1. She girded her loins with strength and strengthened her arms. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good, and her candle goeth not out by night. She led her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor, yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. So you got to remember, this is a dual message for the carnal mind and the spiritual mind, to know that this is a physical woman, but yet is also representative of the spiritual church, which is in the spiritual people. It covers all the bases. It talks to a natural man and a natural woman and a spiritual church, which is a physical church, but yet they're not carnal minded. Yet it talks to a physical man that is a spiritual man that's not carnal minded, and it's talking to a physical woman that's a spiritual minded woman that's not carnal minded. And then it can be talking to a carnal man and a carnal woman as well. He who has an ear, let him hear what the church is saying, Spirit is saying to the church, or to the congregation, or to the assembly, or to the Israelites. Verse 21. She is not afraid of the snow for her household. Basically, she's not afraid to do whatever it takes for her household that's righteous. For all her household are clothed with scarlet. 22. She maketh herself covering of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple. 23. Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. 24. She maketh fine linen and selleth it. and delivered girdle unto the merchant. See, I don't want to be meddling, but just want to tell the truth. He said her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. And that's not, it didn't say sitting among the elders of the church building, of the modern day church building. It said of the land, of the heritage of Israel. Her husband is known in Israel to bring forth this truth. 24, she maketh fine linen and selleth it, and delivered girdle unto the merchant. 25, strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in the time to come. 26, she opened her mouth with wisdom, and her tongue is the law of kindness. She's not cussing you out and calling you all out of your name and belittling you. I've seen some, back in the day, I saw some women who, even though this society, and I saw a video, and I saw, how the society made a man feel like a boy when they call a man a boy, hardworking man, but he's a boy in their sight. But I saw some video how a woman this virtuous woman stood up for a man and made him feel like a man when he came home. He didn't have to leave the world and then come home to a wife that was an adversary. She was a virtuous woman who made him feel like a man. All right. 27. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. No, she's not at home watching Atlanta Housewives, all these things, idle time. And I'm not saying that you can't watch those things, but what I'm saying is she made sure her household is taken care of first. She's not listening to her friends who may come over and try to get her out to mischief, make her lose her household, which was really, that was the adversary that was in the form of false friends. She makes sure that her home is taken care of first. 28. Her children are up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. 29. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. 30. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain. But a woman that feareth Yah, she shall be praised. Does your woman fear Yah? Does your woman keep the law, statutes, and commandments, whether you keep it or not? Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. She'll be like Ruth. gleaming in the field, who got the attention of Boaz, the kinsman, Ruth, working in the field, the church, who got the attention of Yahushua HaMashiach. Genesis 22 and 22. In the rib which Yah Eloi had taken from man, made he a woman, and brought her into the man. 1 Corinthians 11, 8 and 9. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. 9. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. But now in today's society, they've reversed the role. Those powers that be tell you that the woman is she and Beyonce say this is a woman's world, and they rule it. And I'm not getting all on the women. It's gonna come around. 1 Corinthians 7, 1. Now concerning the things of which you wrote to me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. This is Paul's state. See, because Paul had understanding. He had understanding. So he knew that in this state, he had to be responsible for one man, or one person, himself, to reach a certain point that he had a goal for. He said, nevertheless, because of sexual immorality, let each man have his own wife. In this particular, it appears he's saying to have one wife. And at least let each woman have her own husband. It appears that a woman should have one husband. 3. Let the husband render to his wife the affections due her, and likewise also the wife to her husband. So can you see how multiple wives can become an issue? Because you both owed a level of affection. And if you watch people in general, or if you watch celebrities, or you watch shows, just the cornerness of us people, they talk. So if you got multiple wives, and generally like anything, you have multiple anythings, you usually like one above all others. Usually like one particular one of anything that you might have over the rest. So if you got multiple wives and you got this just one that really turns you on, this is a dope channel. And then she's talking how you letting her have it, whether it's from 5 minutes to an hour, however you got it, wherever you do. The other one's gonna want the same thing. Now, if you got 10 wives, have you ever watched that movie, Which Way Is Up? If you get a chance to watch it, just not from a corner point of view, but just from a point of view of just seeing what I'm talking about. Richard Pryor was forced to leave his home, which his wife was there with his family. And then he ended up going and finding a new woman on the road. And he promised this new woman on the road that he wouldn't sleep with anybody else except her, although he had another wife. And he wouldn't, they wouldn't divorce her. So he couldn't even sleep with his own wife, his first wife, because he made a promise to this one that he ended up marrying. So he got two wives now. And he's working full time. He's a supervisor. Then eventually it goes on back and forth. When he comes back home to his first wife, and he's trying to sleep with her, but she wants to sleep with him. But then he made a promise to his other wife, so he can't sleep with her, and he making excuses why he can't sleep with the first wife. But then he go back to the second wife and sleeping with her, and then he ends up, because of pride, sleeping with his first wife behind a minister who had slept with his wife. So he wanted to get even and sleep with the minister's wife. Now it's a big old mess. So then now he's sleeping with his first wife and his second wife and the minister's wife to try to get her pregnant because he made her a promise. So he's sleeping in between three women. So then finally his friends have to come in and carry him to work because he's so tired. His life is in shambles because he's so tired all the time because he don't have no energy. And then not on top of that, because of all that sin going around, he ended up losing them all. And then he loses the woman that he really liked, his woman he had the children by, that one that was his first wife. And he did get the minister's wife pregnant, and the other woman had a child. So, and then his best friend, Chewy, end up getting his second wife and running off with her. And behind all this, now if he just had one wife, left the minister's wife alone, never went and got with the other woman, none of this never would happen. So what is your motive to make you want to have more than one wife? Let me go back to First Corinthians 7:1. Now concerning the things of which you wrote to me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. That was Paul speaking. Nevertheless, because of sexual immorality, let each man have his own wife. He didn't say wife, he said wife. And let each woman have her own husband. He didn't say husband, he said husband. Let the husband render to his wife the affection due her, and likewise also the wife to her husband. And like I was saying, do you have what it takes to give all these women that you say that you want the same affection that's due her? Now, what if you have a bunch of quote unquote freaks who not virgins, who done formed a sexual philosophy that is supposed to be like this and supposed to be like that, and they ain't satisfied with 2 minutes each? Are you prepared for that? Verse 4, the wife does not have authority over her own body. Then that might get some Israelites excited. Okay, see, okay, I can handle it because I can just how I want to do it. But then watch this verse. He said, but the husband does. Okay, oh yeah, man, all right, I can handle that. Watch this. And likewise, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife does. So like I'm saying, so whether you got all these women with the philosophy that you're supposed to do it like this, supposed to do it like that, and it's supposed to last this amount of time, can you handle that? And I'm not talking about looking at a big old healthy plate, that you think you can handle because you see it. Someone once you actually got it on your plate and you got to eat it. Do you have that kind of appetite? Verse 5. Do not deprive one another except with consent for a time, that you may give yourselves to fasting and prayer and come together again, so that Satan does not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. Verse 6. But I say, this is a concession, not a commandment. So Paul is telling you this is not a commandment, but it's a concession. Verse 7. For I wish that all men were as myself, but each one has his own gift from Yah. One in this manner, another in that. But I say, the unmarried and to the widows, it is good for them if they remain even as I am. Verse 9. But if they cannot exercise self-control, let them marry. For it is better to marry than to burn with passion. He said, keep your marriage vows. This next section. He said, now to the married, I command, yet not I, but Yah. So he's saying this is Yah commanding this. A wife is not to depart from her husband. But even if she does depart, let her remain unmarried or be reconciled to her husband. And a husband is not to divorce his wife. But to the rest, I, not Yah, say. See, this is Paul talking, not Yah. If any brother has a wife who does not believe, she is willing to live with him. Let him not divorce her. 13. And a woman who has a husband who does not believe, if he is willing to live with her, let her not divorce him. Verse 14. So in other words, if you're married and neither one of them want to leave, they can stay. 14. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Otherwise, your children would be unclean, and now they are holy. Verse 15. But the unbeliever departs. Let him depart. A brother or a sister is not under bondage in such cases. But Yah has called us to peace. For how do you know, O wife, whether you will save your husband? Or how do you know, O husband, whether you will save your wife? And then some might say, well, that's Paul saying that. And based on what I know about Paul, Paul was a Pharisee. He was also a citizen of Rome, although he was an Israelite. And he knew all the laws and customs in Rome. So the reason he said that was because he knew the law. So those Israelites that didn't get married by custom, some got married by the laws of Rome. So he knew the laws of Rome, and the laws of Rome says something like this. That's why he was able to say what he said. He said, you're not bound by an unbelieving wife or unbelieving husband if they choose to leave, because they don't believe no more. They don't believe in the faith, because the Most High told them that you're supposed to stay. But since they left, they don't believe. They're unbelievers. Then, like I said, for those who say, well, Paul, y'all didn't say that, Paul said that. But I believe in this position, even though he said Yah didn't say that, but he says it, and I'm going to use the term I believe, is because I believe Yah put him in a position to say this, and because he knew the law of what they call the land. This is how it's going to work anyway, because those who went to the citizen or went to Rome and got married at that time, this is what the law says. And I use Bouvier's Law Dictionary, Revised 6th edition, 1856, volume 1. Abandonment. So that's called abandonment when one or the other leaves. That's why you don't have to, you're not bound in marriage once if one or the other one leaves you. It says abandonment, and it says this is malicious. It's a malicious act. The act of a husband or wife who leaves his or her consort willfully and with an intention of causing perpetual separation. 2, such abandonment, when it has continued the length of time required by local statutes, is sufficient cause for a divorce. By 1 half or 47 section divorce. See, and also it says you're not bound by such a marriage in that case. So in that case, that woman or man who left don't have any rights to bring any charges against you because they left. They're the unbelievers. Deuteronomy 24:1. When a man has taken a wife, this is the Hamashiach talking, and married her, and it come to pass that she find, this is actually Moses talking, Deuteronomy 24:1. When a man has taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he has found some uncleanness in her heart, uncleanness in her heart, hardness of her heart. Then let him write her a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand and send her out of his house. So that right there is telling you once he found that hardness of her heart or uncleanness in her heart, he didn't give her that divorcement in her hand. And they make that's it, and she get out of his house. He not expecting her back. Just like the other section when Paul was talking, when him or her leave on their own, that's a malicious act of unbelief. So you're not expecting them back. You free. No charge can be brought up against you. And that's an abomination, I believe, in the eyes of the Most High, because that's why it's called malicious. Because if they left on their own, how can they charge you with anything? The Most High don't. And they're not a virtuous woman because they are. Well, you're talking about the woman. That's not a virtuous woman, because he said a virtuous woman will not cause her husband any harm. So if a woman gonna leave, they ain't gonna cause you harm. That's not virtuous. Matthew 19:8. He said unto them, Moses, this was the Hamashiach talking, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives. But from the beginning, it was not so, not thus. Matthew 5:32. But I say unto you, that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, that's an uncleanness, causes her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced, committed adultery. So you can't marry a divorced woman. Because if you do, that's causing you to commit adultery. Read that again. Matthew 5:32. But I say unto you, that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causes her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced, committed adultery. Matthew 19:9. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committed adultery. And whosoever married her which is put away does commit adultery. Revelations 21:8-10. But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. Verse 9. And there came unto me one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials full of the seven last plagues, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, and I will show thee the bride, the Lamb's wife. See, now I was talking about from the beginning, this message about the wives. It's showing us as men and women of Yah, the Israelites, the most spirituals of us, and the most debased of us, or the carnalness of us. You can see it as spiritual men and women, carnal men and women. You can see it as the church of Yah, or the assembly of the saints, the Israelites. You can see it all within these verses. Talking to you on a personal level and as a family level as the Israelites. Verse 10, and he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain and showed me the great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from Yah. Proverbs 21:9. It is better to dwell in a corner of an housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. See, now we're about to get into the unvirtuous woman. You sure you still want to get all them wives? Proverbs 6:24-35. To keep thee from the evil woman and from the flattering of the tongue of a strange woman. I made another video about it. She's strange and I like it. At least they stay away from them strange women. 25. Lust not after her beauty in thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. For by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread. So all these women that you have, not to insult my brothers nor my sisters in Israel, I'm just speaking the word and speaking the truth. All them women that you have gathered together under your roof as your wives, are they virtuous women or are they whorish women? Makes a difference. You're going to find out. For by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread, and the adulterers will hunt for the precious life. Are all these women hunting for your life, your soul? Are they trying to weigh you down that you can't fly like an eagle? Were they sent by Yah, or were they sent by the adversary to stop you from the high call of Yah? Were you drawn by the lust of your flesh? Were you drawn by the pride of life, the lust of the eye, and the lust of the flesh? When you did this? (26) For by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread, and the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. 27. Because you Israelites, you're precious in the sight of the Most High Yah. 27. Can a man take fire in his bosom and all his clothes not be burned? Can you take this fire that's going to come in your bosom by these whorish women that's seeking after your life? But you don't have one to deal with. You got a harem because they told you could do it. Let's say if it is lawful for you to have all these women, can you handle all this fire that's going to come up on you because of these whorish women? Can you provide the sexual muster to satisfy all these women? Do you have enough current notes Federal Reserve notes or whatever to better take care of all these women? How are you about your brothers coming around to see you with all these whores women? Every brother not coming to see your women. Some brothers really care about you, but these whores women gonna put you in such a state that now you can't trust them around your brothers, nor can your brothers trust them around themselves, because they come over to see you, but the women secretly looking at them. Now they messed up your brotherhood behind these whores women. But it's still your fault because you wanted them women. "29. So he that goeth in to his neighbor's wife, whosoever touches her shall not be innocent." 30. Men, do not despise a thief if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. 31. But if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold. He shall give all the substance of his house. 32. But whoso committed adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. That's the truth, my brothers and sisters. That's the truth. We all need to repent. And I'm not saying we all committed adultery, we all did this, but we've all done something in the sight of the Most High, because our righteousness is but filthy rags. So it's not you can't like, oh, I saw you do that. No, I didn't do that, but I did that, and we all done something. So we got to turn away from the blame game and repent and come back to Yah. "33. A wound and dishonor shall he get, and his reproach shall not be wiped away." 34. For jealousy is the rage of a man. And see, that's another thing too. You would have a good fellowship, and you have brethren around, but now you got all these whores women around you. You're gonna see another side of yourself constantly that's gonna interfere with your relationships with your brethren, because now you can't trust these women. Now you got an eye on your brothers. That Satan done came all the way in now. And you got a reason to be suspicious, because you got a bunch of holes in your house. But you didn't get the virtuous woman, so that's what it is. 34. For jealousy is the rage of a man, therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance. Now, can you see the Hamashiach in that as well? He said he's a jealous Elo. And Israel has been committing adultery on him since we was Israelites. He divorced us, I think, at least once already. But he let us back. So 35. He will not regard any ransom, neither will he rest content, though thou give it many gifts. When the Hamashiach come back, you don't give him no gift. He coming back to do what he gonna do. Because not only was he jealous, he angry at the other people because they done committed adultery with us, treated us like hoes. And then some of us has awakened, so we repented and we've gone back to being virtuous by his help. But yet some of us are still hoes. They're still being slutted out. I'm just using real words. We're adults, so there's no children in here. So what you think that's gonna do? He jealous. He angry. He coming back. He gonna destroy those hoes of us and those other pimps and players that have been whoring us out. I'm just trying to make it real. First John 2:15-17. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh. That's why I was asking, what is your reason for wanting all these women? Is it because you see on television how people have all these women and you never had all these women, but now that you're an Israelite and that you know that you are somebody and the women see you as somebody and you have the opportunity to have all these women and they with it, is that the reason you're going to get them just because you can? And you, first of all, my Islamic brothers out there, man, I'm not going to disrespect you. It's not my intent, so don't be offended. I'm just using something that came to my mind. The Islamic community, I believe, if I'm not correct, they can correct me. I believe they have something called jihad, where they're promised all, 100 virgins, 1,000, I don't know, some 100 or 1,000 virgins if they commit the ultimate act of sacrifice of themselves. So back to the Israelite brothers. Are you trying to sacrifice yourself that you can get all these women? And you're not even trying to get no virgins in a lot of cases. Because you don't want just the virgin. You want the ones that's with it, that's gonna do the most. I'm just keeping it real, something to think about. I'm not attacking you. Just talking. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eye, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passes away. See, in the resurrection, in the new kingdom, in those who are pressing tries the high call, you're not going to be having no woman anyway. Because you're going to be like the angels. You're not going to better die no more. You're going to be immortal. Neither marrying or giving into marriage. That's the high call. Are you seeking the highest call, or you still want to see the people in the highest call? They're not going to never die anymore. They're going to be immortal, be just like the angels. But then in the world to come, and I'm going to get there, there's still going to be people that's living long lives, but they're still going to be dying there too, because they didn't make the highest call. They didn't get the immortal life. in the kingdom. So they're going, let me get there. So in the world passeth away, and the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of Yah abideth forever. So we want to abide forever. That's the highest call. And believe it or not, all these women that you have, if you don't have no virtuous woman, all these other women is gonna hold you down. You're not gonna make it because they're attached to you. So you still want all these women? So Paul said it's good that you don't not even touch a woman because now you're just responsible for yourself to get in. But now you got all these attachments to you. Now you got to get all that in order, including yourself, to make it in. And you still want all these women attached to you, especially if they're not virtuous. Matthew 7:13-14. Enter you in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. And many there be which go in thereat. 14. Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. 1 Corinthians 6:12-20. All things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. And these scriptures came to my mind because let's say it is lawful for you to have all these women. Is it expedient for you to get to the ultimate goal of eternal life, immortality? Or are you just settle for the women and live a long life and then die? Because you still got sin in you. All things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any. Meats for the belly, and the belly for meats, but Yah shall destroy both it and them. Now the body is not for fornication, but for Yah, and Yah for the body. And Yah has both raised up Yahusha and will also raise up us by his own power. 15. Know ye not that your bodies are the members of an harlot? Yah forbid. What? Know ye not that he which is joined to an harlot is one body? That he said that he was joined to a harlot. So if you got a household full of harlots, man, it might just be impossible for you to get in. For two, says he, shall be one flesh. He said two shall be one flesh. So if you got a household full of harlots, how many pieces of flesh are you? And you're trying to attach that to the body of the Hamashiach. And he ain't having that. So we got to repent. And I say we as a body, I'm not trying to not put it all on one man or woman. So I'm saying as a body, as a people. (17) But he that is joined unto Yah is one spirit. 18. Flee fornication. Every sin that a man does is without the body. But he that committed fornication sinneth against his own body. (19) What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, which is in you, which you have of Yah, and ye are not your own? 20. For ye are bought with a price. Therefore glorify Yah in your body and your spirit, which are Yah's. 1 Corinthians 10, 23 to 29. All things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not. 24. Let no man seek his own, but every man another's wealth. 25. Whatsoever is sold in the shambles, that eat, asking no questions for conscience sake. 26. For the earth is Yah's, and the fullness thereof. 27. If any of them that believe not bid you to a feast, and you be disposed to go, whatsoever is set before you eat, asking no question for conscience sake. And then see here, he's because he knows the law, statutes, and commandments. He knows if people put pork and shrimp and crab and all these different things that the Most High said eat. Of course, you're not going to eat that. He's talking about people that is keeping the law, statutes, and commandments that you're hanging around. See, but we all have done it at some time in the past through ignorance. But now that you know better, you know not to eat that stuff. 28. But if any man say unto you, this is offered in sacrifice unto idols, eat not for his sake that showed it, and for conscience sake. For the earth is Yah's, and the fullness thereof. 29. Conscience, I say, not thine own, but of other. For why it may be liberty judged of another man's conscience. So okay, let me read that again. 29. Conscience, I say, not thine own, but of the other. For why is my liberty judged of another man's conscience? See, there's a lot of things that people will tell you that's wrong, that's not wrong, but that's how they see things. It's not how the Most High see it. You got liberty in the Most High, but not to break the commandments. See, in the church houses, they tell you got liberty. They'll use the same scripture to break the commandments because they're basically telling you got to do what they tell you to do, according to a man's philosophy, but not according to the law, statutes, and commandments, which Sunday worship is a breaking of the law, statutes, and commandments. It's a direct violation of keeping the Sabbath, to keep it holy. And the people who ordained that day for their worshipers clearly put it out there because they said that even a schoolboy knows that. Said, we don't want to put it out. The Most High told you to keep it on Saturday and not Sunday, but we told you to keep it on Sunday. And actually, Saturday, the Most High didn't call it Saturday. He called it the seventh day. The Sabbath day. Galatians 5, 19 to 21. 19. No, now the works of the flesh are manifest. See? You got all these women. Man, this is so terrible. Let's say if you had a virtuous woman among the hoes that you got at your house. She gonna catch it. She trying to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, but you done brought a bunch of whorish women among her. She ain't living hell. Now you gonna cause this to happen because one of these spirits gonna definitely manifest in your house. I just pray my virtuous sister don't get caught up in it, wherever she's at. Galatians 5, 19 to 21. 19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variances. See, they say they manifest. They're going to manifest. Emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murderers, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have told you in times past. So he done told you multiple times, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of Yah. So by these Israelite brothers, you getting all of these women, and Paul said getting one, but you getting all these women, how many of them is virtuous? Or do you got a harem of hoes? And I don't know you personally, so I'm not calling your wife a hoe. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying what the scriptures talk about. So I don't know who I'm talking to. See, he said, those who do these things are not going to inherit the kingdom of Yah. So they always talk about in the kingdom, in the kingdom. You're putting yourself in a position that you might not even see the kingdom. First Samuel 16:7. But Yah said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature. So he's not looking at how you look, how tall you are, nothing like that. Because I have refused him. For Yah seeth not a man, he seeth not as a man. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but Yah looketh on the heart. What is in your heart to make you want to have all these women? Proverbs 21, 1-9. 1. The king's heart is in the hands of Yah, as the river of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will. 2. Every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but Yah pondereth the hearts. 3. To do justice and judgment is more acceptable to Yah than sacrifice. 4. A high look and a proud heart, and the plowing of the wicked is sin. 5. The thoughts of the diligent tend only to plenteousness, but everyone that is hasty only to want. Is it because of the want that you have? You hasty because you see all your other brethren, or you see people on YouTube talking about all the women they got? Does that make you hasty to want all these women? When you're seeing what the Most High is saying, that you're going to be responsible for all these women and your own soul to come into this under subjection to make it in the straight gate. Do you still want all these women? Six. The getting of treasures by a lying tongue is vanity, tossed to and fro of them that seek death. 7. The robbery of the wicked shall destroy them, because they refuse to do judgment. 8. The way of a man is forward and strange, but as for the pure, his work is right. 9. It is better to dwell in a corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. Jeremiah 17:10. I, Yah, search the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his way, and according to the fruit of his doings. Romans 8:28. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love Yah, to whom are the called according to his purpose. So maybe if you were one of them brothers who the women left, that see he said he'll all give you a way of escape. So maybe he gave you that was your way of escape to make you blameless. They left. Don't let them back. 1 Corinthians 15, 40 through 45. 40. There are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial. See, this is what I'm talking about. These are the bodies going to exist in the new kingdom and a new world in the resurrection. There are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial. But the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. Which glory are you looking for? What is your purpose in this? 41. There is one glory of the sun, another glory of the moon, and another glory of the stars. For one star different from another star in glory. So there's different levels of glory that we're going to achieve based on our faithfulness and based on how we walk that narrow path. That we give the Most High the glory. 42. The Most High glorified in our walk. 42. So also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption. It is raised in incorruption. 43. It is sown in dishonor. It is raised in glory. It is sown in corruption. It is raised in power. Hamashiach said he got it with all power in his hands. 44. And he said he was the first born among many brethren. It's going to be 144,000 that's going to that has a suit ready for him, or a mansion that has the correct. See, because we're going to be just like him. So the Hamashiach already has the body that has been designed by the Father with the exact measurements that we're gonna have to fit into, that he already has prepared for us in those mansions. 44. Dishonor, it is raised in. Okay. It is sown a natural body. It is raised a spiritual body. There's a natural body and there's a spiritual body. You know, they thought the Hamashiach was a ghost. At one point, because he had not ascended to the Father, he told Mary Magdalene, "Touch me not." But then another time he told Doubting Thomas, touch me and feel that it is I. Give me a piece of a broiled fish to eat and let me eat it. So these bodies can eat if they want to. They can sleep if they want to. They can go through walls. They can do anything they want. There's a natural body and there's a spiritual body. The Most High has a body, but he has the highest spiritual body. He can't turn down his light to come and be among us. That's why he said no man can see him and live. But he can see his exact replica of him, which is the Hamashiach. And the angels can come in the form of as a man and have a natural body. And then go back to their glorious body. There's a natural body and there's a spiritual body. 45. And so it is written. The first man, Adam, was made a living soul. Because he created him out of the dust. And was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit. That's the Hamashiach. Galatians 6, 7 through 9. Be not deceived, Yah is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he reap, also reap. So keeping the hold to the theme, are you reaping to have a multiple wives, or are you reaping to get to the kingdom? Oh no, man, they ain't got to do with it, man. All right, no problem. gonna have to get all the women under control and get them virtuous, quick as quick. And y'all all become one spirit. Righteous. For righteousness is immortal. Hey, and I'm not talking about intimidating them and beating them either into submission. They're gonna have to willingly do it through the word, through the washing of the water of the word. Hey, for he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. But he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. Nah. And let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Man should always pray and not faint. How should we pray? Master, teach us how to pray. And HaMashiach said, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, this word. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, and deliver us from evil. For thine is the power, the kingdom, the power, and the glory. Amen. It's all about him. All about his will. First Corinthians 15, 51 and 52. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. And some of us are chasing after carnal things. And that's why the scripture says, have you read that you are gods, but you should die like men? Some of us will never face death, just like Enoch. Won't taste it. We'll just keep on living and be changed. But those others that are chasing after carnal things, some of them gonna die like men. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. Philippians 3 and 14. I press towards the mark for the prize of the high calling of Yah and HaMashiach Yahusha. John 14, 2 and 3. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, remember the scripture said he came and died for many. He didn't come and die for all. He said he wished that none be lost. He said it does not please him that any should perish. But yet he said he didn't come for he died for many and got up for them. Those who are looking for him, he shall appear the second time without sin. Although it not yet appear what we shall be, but when he shall appear, we shall be like him. So are you looking for him? Or are you looking for a lot of big butt women? Okay, John 14:2 and 3. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself. And remember when he said, say you neither know the scriptures nor the power of the Most High Yah? He said, because in the resurrection there should not be marriage or given in the marriage, but we should be like the angels. And then he just told you about he has many mansions in his Father's house that he's prepared for those who are looking for him. He can come again. See, there where I am, there you may be also. Then he gonna give you the measurements of those new glorified bodies, the ones like he has. Revelations 21:17. And he measured the wall thereof, and 144 cubits, and according to the measure of a man, that is, of the angel. That's the measurements of the new bodies. The kingdom. See, this is what I'm talking about. Because this is going to be neither marriage or given into marriage for these new glorified bodies. But there's still going to be people around that's going to still have to, they're going to live a long time too, but they're going to still be dying and sinning. Isaiah 65:20. There shall be no more thence an infant of days, nor an old man that has not filled his days. For the child shall die 100 years old, but the sinner, being 100 years old, shall be accursed. So that's it. Hope I had not offended anyone, but I was trying to keep it real with you, with myself too. And next time, shalom.